Wild Willie T's Arm Wrestling and Strongman Rants, bringing you commentary, news, and insights on the two sports I love the most, both from a fan's perspective and a journalistic perspective, but with a twist. Lots of rants. Welcome to another show, folks. Sorry I haven't been with you in a while. After I did my last video, my laptop didn't crash on me, but pretty much crashed on me. I had to take it to see the doctor. And it looks like I got most of it fixed. Every time I tried to record videos, it was just bogging down. Everything was clogging down. So we did some updates. He did some updates to, I think he said the BIOS. He did updates to different drivers. And we cleaned up a lot of the files that I had on the laptop. So anyway, sorry for not being with you. The last time I was with you, I previewed the World's Strongest Man. And of course, since then, everyone should know that Tom Stoltman won the World's Strongest Man for the second year in a row. This video, I will be concentrating on the biggest arm wrestling match in history. Devon Larratt versus Levan Saginashvili. I did a video when I started this YouTube channel all the way back, I believe, 5 months ago. And the title of the video, 5 months ago, the title of the video was Devon Larratt will defeat Levan Saginashvili, and this is why. And if you go to my channel, you can see that video. In that video, I detailed a lot of the career of Devon Larratt. And for all the doubters out there who are too naive or too ignorant or too dumbfounded by the European arm wrestling community, well, Devon Larratt was a professional soldier. He did arm wrestling in his free time. John Brzenk, for example, worked at an airport. On weekends, 52 weeks a year, he could compete in arm wrestling tournaments all over the world. And he got cheap flights because of the fact that he worked at an airport. And he could train as an arm wrestler because even if you train as an arm wrestler, it doesn't really affect your job as an engineer. Now, if you train as an arm wrestler, trying to bulk up and build as much strength as possible, it could very well affect your performance as a soldier. So I really don't understand why people are comparing the 2008 version of Devon Larratt, which was phenomenal, the guy that beat John Brzenk for the first time in super matches. I think he was probably 40 to 50 pounds lighter back then. And that was before his surgeries. So now we're 10 years after Devon Larratt's surgeries, 4 years after his retirement, 2.5 years into his pumpkin training, which Todd Hutchins seems to be a fan of, even though we're not, Todd might not be releasing everything that he knows of what Devon's doing. But to even compare this Devon Larratt to any other version of Devon Larratt is ridiculous. And the Devon Larratt that beat Michael Todd, I'm fat. Like ever since I had the life-altering surgery, I've lost 80 pounds twice. And now, until I can see a specialist, I am not going to put in the effort to lose the 80 pounds again. I do want to lose some weight for my health, but it's quite disheartening. But watching Devon Larratt put on the weight that he's put on, Devon, when he fought Michael Todd, you'll remember Michael Todd back then was saying, "Oh, this is the strongest I've ever been." And I'm not going to go too much into detail on Michael Todd.
Hey, he's beating the best version of me, so I can't say anything about it.
But Michael Todd that faced Devon Larratt was not the same Michael Todd that faced Gennady just recently. Michael Todd had not had COVID prior to facing Devon Larratt. Devon Larratt had a pulmonary embolism 6 months before facing Michael Todd, or maybe a year before facing Michael Todd. But Michael Todd didn't get COVID. He didn't have the diverticulitis issues, and I feel for Michael Todd because diverticulitis is what ended up destroying a large portion of my bowel and leaving me with a colostomy on my side. So I sympathize for Michael, and I understand, that's no fun. But when he faced Devon Larratt, he hadn't had these health issues. And according to him, back then, he was the best version of Michael Todd that we had ever seen. So now you fast forward, Devon Larratt takes all this time off, goes to box Thor Afthor Bjornsson, comes back, arm wrestles the GOAT, beats him 6-0. Well, it was 4-0. The first match, Devon goes into an open top roll, never puts his shoulder below the table, stops John's hit. This is the biggest version of John Brzezinski anyone's ever seen, and people play that off as well.
Oh, my word, lit up there.
I don't understand. I don't understand what all these experts, okay, and I love a lot of the guys that do the YouTube videos, okay? I appreciate me some Uncle John. Ready bang! I appreciate me some Aussie arm wrestler. Ready bang! I appreciate it. I like Pradeep Singh arm wrestling. I watch it all the time. Neil Pickup, I watch it. Travis Bagent, Devon Larratt's channel. I watch most of the channel. Ryan Bluebone. I watch them all. And for the most part, it seems that everyone is busy playing politically correct. And it seems that everyone seems to be sadly underestimating Devon Larratt. Devon Larratt, if you go look through his YouTube channel way back when, Devon Larratt used to train with some heavy weights. The man's 6'6". He barely trains triceps, but yet he's still got an 18 or 19-inch arm, which is all bicep. Listen, to put a 19-inch arm or a 20-inch arm on a 6'6" frame, that's pretty impressive. That's a lot of muscle mass. What I don't understand with all these experts, okay, so recently, everyone's saying, we got no data, there's no data. I'm going to go through this. I'm going to try to go through this as quickly as I possibly can. Recently, Todd Hutchings came to Canada and faced off against Pork Chop, also known as Curtis Cameron, and another guy that they know as The Machine. And The Machine is Brian Desarmeaux. Okay, so I'm going to take you to the YouTube channel of Table Monkeys, which is the YouTube channel belonging to one of the Ontario Arm Wrestling Clubs. You go to Table Monkeys and you'll see Toddzilla, Todd Hutchings, Arm Wrestling, Pork Chop, Curtis Cameron, and The Machine in a 3 out of 5. I'm just going to show you the first match. Now, this is fresh for fresh, Toddzilla against Pork Chop.
This is center. This is center right here is center. This is center right here. Okay, close your thumbs. Do not move. Do not move. Close your hands. Go!
It happened pretty quick, right? But you saw they both went into a hook. They stayed there for maybe a second or two. Todd pinned Pork Chop. Todd did work. When you look at Todd Hutchings' face here.
This is center.
So that was Todd Hutchings against Pork Chop. That was back in April, so a month and a half ago. Just recently, so a month later, Todd Hutchings faces Irakli Zirakashvili at East versus West 3.
Yeah, I think this is done.
Yep, this is Todd's spot right here. What?
Let's see what can he do. This so much.
So they don't go into a hook. Irakli tries to top roll, and Todd, with his wrist even bent back a little bit, manages to use a side pressure and pin Irakli. Now, to me, it looks like he pinned Pork Chop a little easier than he pinned Irakli, but not that much more difficult. So what I don't understand is nobody in the arm wrestling world has asked Todd Hutchings to compare Pork Chop to Irakli. Now, I know it might be two different styles. Styles make matches. I get it. I understand. But Todd Hutchings has felt Fresh, the training partner of Levan, and he's also felt Fresh, someone that Devon Larratt trains with on a regular basis. Now, Devon Larratt faced Pork Chop in a right-handed tournament at a bar called Taco Taco recently. He didn't just face Pork Chop. It was an open tournament. He pulled left-handed and right-handed. And during that tournament, after he'd already pulled a few people, he pulled Pork Chop, Curtis Cameron. And I'd like to take you to the footage of that, because when he did face Pork Chop is used to Devon pretty much playing around with him in practice and giving him some of the stuff that he needs, or giving him an advantage, and then Devon working his way out of that disadvantage. Now, the reason I want to show you this is because this demonstrates that Devon Larratt, in training, was willing to get into a ready-go position with Pork Chop, whom Toddzilla faced off against Fresh. Let's see the result of that.
This is center right here. This is center right here. A little bit of wrist, guys. Just a bit of wrist. Give me a little bit of wrist. Ready, go! Oh!
So Pork Chop slips there. I'd be willing to bet that if that was in the top 8, that would have been declared a win for Devon Larratt because of an intentional slip in a losing position. And it happened so fast. It happened about as fast as the flash pin that Devon Larratt got on John Brzezinski in round 3 of their super match. That's how quick that happened. But Devon, being the nice guy that he is, comes back to the table. They didn't call it a win for Devon. Devon comes back to the table and sets up with Pork Chop once again.
Go!
That is also known as a flash pin. And even though he flash pinned him once and then flash pinned him again, he's going to be nice and go at it with Pork Chop a little more.
Got it? I'm good right there. Yeah, go.
So here's Devon in that open top roll that the Europeans like to call the King's move. Now, he'll alternate that depending on who he's fighting and bring that shoulder down to about level with the arm wrestling table. And at King of the Table 4, when he does this to Levan in round 1, and probably again in round 2, and maybe even again in round 3, we're going to find out just how tough Levan is. Because if you'll remember, Levan Saginashvili, he appeared on Engin Terzi, the Enigma of Rage. He appeared on Engin's channel, and he was doing an interview, and Engin was asking him about training. And Levan was basically saying how he was training with weights. He wasn't doing as much table time as maybe Engin thought that he should. And then he explained why he wasn't practicing as intensely with Irakli. Now, listen to this.
This time with sparring partners. And when sparring partner tries to pin him, like as a competition, he may injure himself when he's not trying to pin his opponent, his sparring partner.
Don't you think that he's strong enough to just control them, even they try to pin him? Like, don't you think that he should be?
I will ask. He didn't mention that. Okay, I will ask.
Yeah, because we're talking about Levan, and we're talking about Irakli.
Yeah.
David Arabuli. They are great. They are incredible, but for their category. I mean, when we compare with Levan, I could just imagine that Levan would just hold them, do wrist curl.
So what Engin is saying here is basically Levan should be able to do with Irakli what Devon does with Pork Chop or other top heavyweights that he trains with within his circle of friends. Now, again, I'm not saying that Pork Chop is as good as Irakli, but Pork Chop's a 255-pound man who knows how to arm wrestle. And a 255-pound man applying pressure when you're in a losing position like this, does that work out the bicep? Does it work out every aspect of your arm that you need to arm wrestle when you've got a 255-pound man who knows what he's doing on an arm wrestling table, pushing down on your arm or pulling on your arm or trying to roll your arm, whatever? I mean, everyone complains, oh, Devon's not lifting heavy weights. How do we know? How do we know what Devon Larratt does at 1 o'clock in the morning when he's bored? Because this is the kind of guy Devon Larratt is. I could see this guy waking up in the middle of the night, going for a pee, and deciding, you know what, I'm going to curl that 150 pounds that's sitting there on that dumbbell. I'm going to curl that maybe 15, 20 times before I go to bed. Or maybe I'll do 120-pound reps on I forget, is that riser? Pronation? I don't know. I'm not familiar with all the terms yet. I'm not an expert in arm wrestling. But I've watched enough Devon Larratt stuff to know that the guy is not fooling around going into the biggest arm wrestling match of his life. If people really think that Devon Larratt's not lifting weights, go listen to Todd Hutchings say that Devon's right arm right now is 20% bigger than his left. He's gained 30 to 40 pounds of muscle. And he didn't gain it in his legs because he's not doing squats. He didn't gain it in his chest because he's not doing bench press. He gained it where it counts. This is a freaking arm wrestling match that they're going into on June 25th. Does Levan think it's a powerlifting competition?
Specifically about his sparring partner currently, for example, Irakli, because you asked about you mentioned his name. Those arm wrestlers, like as a sparring partner, are too strong for that type of specific hand control and give them something and then try to get back, because
they're too strong to give them something and come back because
in Georgia those levels are still so strong enough.
Those levels are still so strong enough in Georgia, but in Canada, you bunch of weakling puppets, you have no chance. You have no chance because we are European and we are going to kick your ass. Oh, we can't say that word. You might get offended.
For Levan to not to control them so easily. And then he also mentioned that exactly those times he may injure himself because they are even not Irakli and even other sparring partners. They never do such a thing when they, for example, hitting Levan, sparring with Levan, and when Levan, for example, just tries to go in negative position, then they are not just letting him also go. They are not also dropping their power. They are still going. And that's like he said, it's like a minus for him. The type of exercise and sparring doesn't give him that much and increases the possibility to get injured. And if he wants to do something like this, like you said, Engin, just to take somebody's hand in center and freeze them and control and do a wrist curl, then it has to be somebody very weak, like weak compared to them. And then he doesn't do that at all because
weak. It has to be somebody weak. But yet, Devon Larratt takes on all comers. Does Levan think that Curtis isn't trying here? Is that what's going on? I don't get it. I don't understand. So again, I'd like someone to ask Todd Hutchings how Irakli feels compared to Porkchop. And even if Irakli is stronger than Porkchop, the fact that Levan is saying that he doesn't want to go full practice mode or full whatever with Irakli, that he's scared to hurt himself, that doesn't bode well. And then if you listen to Engin's interview, during that interview, he even downplays the importance of table time. And what I don't get is that all the people that call John Brzezinski the GOAT, they claim that he's the GOAT because of all the table time he's put in. He started so young and endless hours of table time. And John Brzezinkel say that table time is the most important thing when it comes to becoming a better arm wrestler and a stronger arm wrestler. Devon Larratt says that table time is the most important thing. But when Levan Saginishvili says, table time is not important, I lift things up, I put them down. I lift things up, I'm going to tear Devon's arm off. I'm going to tear it off. When Levan says that, he gets a free pass and he's praised as the hero of arm wrestling. Listen, I could be wrong. Devon Larratt could get his ass kicked on June 25th, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. I really don't. Levan Saginashvili can talk about in one of his interviews, he said that he proved that he has endurance when he fought Dave Chaffee. He proved, I think he pinned Dave Chaffee twice and won 6-0. Here, let's watch that. This is coming from Devon Saplenkov. I don't know who that is. Here, I'll turn down the volume here. This is their first match. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. Okay, so right there, Dave Chaffee, who is not an open top roller, stopped Levan there about 3 inches from the pad, and then intentionally slipped. Now, I'm not sure, but I think in King of the Table, intentional slip is not deemed intentional. I think all slips go to the strap. So I'm pretty sure in that situation there, it would still be, because watch. Oh, ball. So 1 win for Levan Saginashvili because Dave Chaffee slipped in a losing position. So no pin yet. Dave stopped him 3 inches from the pad, slipped. Referee gave the win to Levan. Second match. Okay, so they call an elbow foul on Dave. And it was. He came off the back of the pad. So right now in a King of the Table match, it would still be 0-0. There'd be 2 fouls on Dave, and they'd be in a strap. And then I'm not sure in King of the Table if it's 2 fouls or 3 fouls that you're allowed before you lose. Oh, so Dave moved a little bit in the setup. 2 rounds to Levan. And still hasn't pinned Dave. So it's 2-0. Still no pins. Then in this round, he pins him. I'm not going to use all this because I'll probably get some sort of stupid copyright strike, but you can go watch it. I'll leave the link in the description of the video. In the 6 matches, he pins Dave twice. And he gets 6 wins out of it. The fouling, the referee is not going to be this strict at King of the Table. I can almost ensure it. And the problem is, the problem I see with King of the Table 4 is, will the match even take place? Will we see 6 rounds? Because when Levan appeared on Neil Pickup's show a while back, Levan and his translator were there. And what I get a kick out of is the translators that come on with Levan, they all get this stupid grin on their face. As though Levan is saying something. Well, and of course, I don't understand it. It's whatever language he's speaking. They seem to understand it, and they all get a chuckle out of it. And then I wonder sometimes if the translator actually tells us what Levan is saying. Because Levan can say that it's disrespectful for a Canadian to call him a pussy in Georgia. A pussycat. A effing kitten. Pussy. Whoop-de-frickin-do. But when Levan says that he feels he could take on 2 of the top 5 arm wrestlers in the world, is that not a slap in the face and an insult to the top 5 arm wrestlers in the world? When Levan says that he could have taken on Devon Larratt after he beat Dave Chaffee, is that not a slap in the face to Dave Chaffee and Devon? But you call Levan a pussy, and I'm not participating in any kind of shows prior to the match. I'm not going on Neil Pickup with you. Wah, 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 wah. You should have just called him a 415-pound baby, because that's what he is, a freaking baby. And when you hear what Levan says to Neil Pickup at the end of the interview they did on May 20th, here, I'll let you listen.
Interesting. So, Boban with a super chat. Thanks, mate. And he's put, social media made you all way too comfortable with disrespecting people and not getting punched in the face for it.
Okay, so that's a direct reference to Devon calling him a pussy.
As famously said by Mike
and it's deserving of a punch in the face.
Tyson recently. Levan, do you agree with Mike Tyson's comments?
Notice the smirk on the translator's face right now. I see the same smirk sometimes on Pradeep. Ah, there it is.
Yeah, he agrees.
See, more laughing. I'm really curious to know what he's saying here.
Yeah, he's saying that he agrees. It has become too easy to insult anybody around the globe. And talking from Canada to Georgia, it's maybe much easier now. And he feels that this communication has become too disrespectful. But he says that time will still come, we will still meet, and the justice will be there.
So time will still come, we will still meet, justice will be there. It's what comes next. That's if you read between the lines.
Do you expect that Devon will continue to try and get in your head when you do meet face to face? Do you expect that he's going to come at you full force and try to get in your head and piss you off, take you out of your game? And if he did that, are you sort of mentally steeled to deal with it? Are you just going to put the blinkers on and act like he's not there, look through him?
Why the hell did Neil Pickup ask this question? Is he steel? Will you just let it go? Listen, he couldn't handle being called a kitten. He couldn't handle being called a cat, a pussy. What do you think is going to happen when Devon Larratt's sitting there in an open top roll going, "Hey, big boy! Hey, you should have got bigger, big boy! Hey, big boy!" What happens when Devon starts calling him a pussy to his face or a big baby to his face? Again, you see the big smirk and the big laugh, and then the translator thinks about it for a minute, and Levan is...
Levan is saying that he hopes he doesn't cross the border when they meet, because he definitely doesn't want it to become physical.
Okay, so he definitely doesn't want it to become physical, but it all depends on whether he crosses the border. And what I'm pretty sure what he meant by that is crosses the line. And if calling Levan a pussy was crossing the line, what do you think is going to happen if Devon stops him in round 2? Or if Devon stops him in round 3 and starts with the, "Yeah, big boy. Yeah, you should have got bigger, big boy. The Georgian Hulk is just a pussycat." What's going to happen then? Is Levan going to flip out, slap him or something like that? Try to crush his face like he did with the watermelon? Levan's going to be in trouble on the arm wrestling table. And if he knows what's good for him, and if he has any brain at all in that juice-fueled head of his, he'll make sure that he sticks to arm wrestling. Because if he lifts a finger to Devon Larratt in any way that's not for arm wrestling, he better make sure it counts, and he better make sure Devon Larratt doesn't get back up. I hear Travis Bagent and other people poking fun and saying that Devon Larratt wasn't really a special forces. I've spoken to people that are familiar with JTF2, Joint Task Force 2 in Canada. And from what I understand, Devon was like the alpha male within the JTF2. And the JTF2 are like the alpha males of all alpha males in the military. And they're trained. They're trained to take lives with their bare hands. It's not a boxing match. There are no rules if Levan decides to lift his hand for anything else than arm wrestling. So Levan, although Levan says that he's going to rip Devon's arm off, I think Levan's made too many mistakes and it's too late to correct now. I think Levan, in one of his videos with Neil, in the interview with Neil Pickup, you can go read it. You can go listen to it. Sorry. You'll hear him say at one point that trash talk is fine when it comes to boxing or MMA. You know, like Conor McGregor talking crap. That's okay. But he claims that, you know, this isn't fighting. This is arm wrestling. It's like I said in the video I did 5 months ago, Levan. You're treating this like a sport. You're hitting the gym. You're getting big and all pumped up. And Devon's going to come by and poke the balloon. And you go, watch his little bedtime story. You'll kind of, if you read between the lines, you can figure out what that story is all about. It's going to go round 1, round 2, round 3, doesn't matter. And it's going to finish. I'm going to go 4-2 Devon. 4-2 or 4-3 Devon Larratt. I'll give the Georgian Hulk some credit. He might be very well too strong in the first round or two. But by round 3, Devon will stop him. Devon will bleed him. And Devon will make him understand that he is just a little pussycat, not a Georgian Hulk. I'm done now.
If you like what you see so far and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and like the videos. If you'd like to follow the work I do covering world issues and political issues, you can check out my work on Rumble or BitChute. Look for Canada's Red Pill and you should find me. The links to my social media accounts and methods of supporting me financially are in the description of the video. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'm Wild Willie T, signing off from Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, Canada.